She told me to wait in the car while she ran upstairs to drop something off at a friend's place. Just after she closed the door, her phone lit up in the cup holder. She'd left it behind. The message was from someone named Mike. He's just sitting in the car. Come upstairs. I'll be quick. I didn't say anything, just drove off. 3 weeks later, her father came to my door asking if I could send her things back. Life can change in an instant. Not the big events like graduations or weddings, but the small, ordinary moments that completely blindside you. For me, it all happened on a Thursday night in October. Allison and I had been together for over 2 years. We met at a housewarming party, hit it off immediately, and became inseparable. I worked as a software developer for a healthcare company, with a stable career and good benefits, while Allison was a veterinary technician at an animal hospital across town. We'd moved in together 6 months ago, renting a nice 2-bedroom apartment downtown. That evening, we had dinner plans with her college roommate who was passing through town. Just before we left, Allison realized she had to drop off some paperwork for a co-worker on maternity leave. "It'll just take a minute," she said, directing me to an unfamiliar address in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. "Just pull up by the blue sedan." I parked in front of a modern apartment complex. Allison grabbed a manila envelope and said, "Wait here. I'll be right back." She kissed my cheek and went inside, telling me it would only be 2 minutes. I turned on the radio and texted her roommate to let them know we'd be running a little late. That's when I noticed she left her phone in the cup holder. I was about to put it in her purse when the screen lit up with a new message from Mike W. He's just sitting in the car. "Come upstairs. I'll be quick." I read it over and over. The meaning was clear. This wasn't a co-worker's apartment. There was no paperwork, and Mike obviously knew I was sitting there waiting. I felt sick, my hand shaking, but something cold and calm also settled in. I wasn't overthinking it. I wasn't misunderstanding the message. It was exactly what it seemed to be. I put the phone back in the cup holder, started the car, and drove away. On the way home, my mind raced, piecing together all the things I'd overlooked. The girls' nights that had become frequent, her new gym routine with showers there instead of at home, the way she shielded her texts from me. Classic signs I'd been too trusting to recognize before. Once home, I moved quickly, almost mechanically. I packed a bag with essentials, grabbed my laptop, and made sure to take important documents. I needed space, away from Allison's inevitable explanations, away from her lies. I checked into a downtown hotel, finally turned on my phone, and found 30 missed calls from Allison, followed by texts that ranged from confused to angry to panicked. "Where are you? Why did you leave? Answer your phone. Did something happen? This isn't funny, David." I texted her back. "You left your phone in the car." I saw Mike's message. "Don't call me again." Then I turned off my phone, ordered room service, and tried to figure out my next steps. By morning, I had a plan, not one for revenge, but for a clean break. I called my best friend, Eric, explained what happened, and asked if I could crash at his place for a few weeks while I figured things out. He said yes. Then I called our landlord. Since the lease was in both our names, but I had paid the security deposit, and all the utilities were in my name, I asked about my options. The lease had a clause that allowed termination with 60 days' notice, and I immediately initiated that. Next, I froze our joint bank account, which we used for shared expenses. I contributed the majority of the funds, but I wasn't interested in fighting over money. I just needed to prevent any impulsive withdrawals while I sorted everything out. By noon, I'd arranged for a moving company the following day, made a list of what was mine versus what was hers, and planned to move out. Then I turned my phone back on. 43 missed calls, voicemails ranging from tearful to furious, dozens of texts from Allison, and some from mutual friends asking if everything was okay. Allison had sent a long message at 3 a.m. "David, please let me explain. Mike is just a friend from work." The message was a joke. He knew I was dropping off paperwork and was teasing me. "Please come home so we can talk about this. You're scaring me." It was a convenient story, almost believable, but not when I remembered all the signs I'd ignored for months. I didn't respond to her, but I did text our closest friends, telling them that Allison and I had broken up and that I was taking some time to myself. No details, no accusations, just the facts. When I returned to the apartment later that night, Allison was waiting. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying, her hair pulled back messily. She stood up as soon as I walked in. "Where have you been?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "I've been worried sick." I walked past her toward the bedroom and started packing more clothes. She followed me, standing in the doorway. "Are you even going to talk to me? Give me a chance to explain." I kept packing. "The message was pretty clear, Allison." "It's not what you think," she said, her voice rising. "Mike's gay. He's just a work friend." That message was a joke. I stopped and looked at her. "That's really the best excuse you've got, that he's gay?" Her story was falling apart. If Mike was just a work friend, why had I dropped her off at his apartment under the guise of delivering paperwork? If it was innocent, why the secrecy? "I swear, David, nothing's going on," she pleaded. "I don't know why he sent that message." I zipped up my suitcase. "I'm staying with Eric for now. I've given notice on the apartment. We have 60 days to find new places." Her face twisted in shock. "You're ending our lease without even talking to me?" The argument erupted out of nowhere, and I was left standing in the middle of it. She accused me of cheating, but I denied it. Tears streamed down her face, and her voice quivered as she shouted at me, desperate for me to believe it was all a misunderstanding. But I'd already made up my mind. I grabbed my bag and moved toward the door. "I'll be back tomorrow with movers to take my stuff," I said, my voice calm but resolute. She reached for me, grabbing my arm, her grip tight. "You can't just do this. We need to talk like adults." I gently pried her hand off my arm. "I'm not interested in being manipulated or lied to. I've made my decision." I turned to leave, but she quickly switched tactics, trying to negotiate. "Fine, leave," she spat. "But don't think you're taking anything we bought together. And you better keep paying your share of the rent until the lease is up." I paused and glanced back. "The lease termination is already filed. The security deposit covers. The penalty, everything we bought together stays with you. I've only packed what's mine." Her face twisted with fury. "You planned this all in one day? Who is that? You must have been looking for an excuse to leave." I didn't respond. The irony of her words wasn't lost on me, but I left without saying another word. The next day, I returned with the movers as promised. We packed up my furniture, electronics, and whatever personal items I had left. Allison wasn't there. She was at work, and I figured it made things easier. By Friday evening, I was settled into Eric's spare room. The chaos of the past 24 hours didn't feel so overwhelming. In fact, I was surprisingly calm. The weekend brought a barrage of messages from Allison, all of them cycling through anger, bargaining, and desperate pleas. I only responded once, sending a simple message. "Please don't contact me anymore. I've said everything I need to say." Then on Monday, things took a strange turn. I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Mike, Allison's affair partner. "David, it's Mike Wilson. We need to talk," he said, his voice tight with tension. I almost hung up, but curiosity got the better of me. What could we possibly have to talk about? I asked. "It's not what you think," Mike said. "Allison and I aren't together. It's complicated." "I'm not interested in your explanation." I shot back. "Whatever's going on between you two isn't my problem anymore." Mike's voice lowered. "Look," she's spiraling. "She showed up at my place last night, completely drunk, threatening to tell my wife about us if I didn't help convince you it was all a misunderstanding." I froze. "You're married?" "Yes," Mike sighed. "Allison and I, it started as just drinks after work. Then it became more. I tried to end it a month ago when my wife started getting suspicious, but Allison wouldn't let me. She threatened to tell my boss about us having sex at work, which could get both of us fired." The truth began to hit me. "So your texts—" I started slowly. "You were trying to get her upstairs to tell her it was over?" Mike sighed again. "I didn't realize you were in the car. She told me you were working late." It clicked. Mike wasn't just some random guy. He was her affair partner, and I'd unknowingly given him the perfect opportunity to end things. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Because she's out of control, Mike said. She's threatening both of us now, and I thought you should know the truth. I hung up the phone and called a lawyer friend for advice. He suggested I document everything and consider a restraining order if things escalated. The next 2 weeks were quiet. I found a new routine, worked, the gym, evenings with friends, or quietly coding at Eric's place. I also started apartment hunting and found a place close to my office. Then Allison's messages slowed to a trickle before completely stopping. Mutual friends told me she had been telling everyone I was emotionally abusive and had left her without warning. Most people didn't believe her, given how suddenly everything had happened and how happy we'd seemed just days earlier. Then came an unexpected visitor. One evening, I was at Eric's when the doorbell rang. Eric answered it, then called me over with a puzzled expression. A man stood on the porch looking uneasy but determined. "David?" he asked when I stepped outside. "I'm Robert, Allison's father." I braced myself for accusations, but his next words took me by surprise. "I'm here to apologize for my daughter's behavior and ask if you'd be willing to send her remaining things to our house in Portland." I invited him in, wary but curious. Over coffee, Robert explained that Allison had moved back to her parents' house after being fired from the animal hospital. "Fired?" I asked, surprised. Robert nodded grimly. Apparently her relationship with Mike violated workplace policies. He was her supervisor, though she never mentioned that to you, I assume? "No," I replied, shaking my head. She didn't. Her relationship with him came out after his wife found out. Robert continued. "They were both fired. Allison showed up at our door last week claiming you'd thrown her out, but her story kept changing. Then yesterday, Mike's wife called us." I listened as Robert detailed the conversation. How Mike's wife had found months of messages between them, how Allison had pursued Mike aggressively despite knowing he was married, and how she threatened both of them when Mike tried to end things. "We raise her better than this," Robert said, his voice heavy with disappointment. "Her mother and I, we don't understand how she became this person. But we want you to know we don't blame you for leaving. We would have done the same." I felt a strange sense of closure hearing this. I packed up Allison's things and told Robert everything was in storage. "I can send you the key and details," I said. He thanked me, then hesitated. "There's one more thing," he said. "Allison is getting help now. Professional help. The therapist thinks she has some significant issues we never recognized. It doesn't excuse what she did, but explains some things." I finished the sentence for him. "I understand." After Robert left, I felt an unexpected lightness. Not happiness exactly, but the sense that a chapter had truly closed. That was 4 months ago. Now I'm settled into my new apartment, focused on my career, and slowly opening myself up to the possibility of dating again. Allison remains in Portland with her parents, undergoing treatment for what her father later told me was borderline personality disorder. As for Mike, his marriage couldn't survive the scandal. His wife left him, and according to LinkedIn, he's relocated to another state, starting over with a significantly downgraded career. Sometimes I think back to that moment in the car, staring at the message that changed everything. If I hadn't seen it, how much longer would the deception have continued? How much more invested would I have become before inevitably discovering the truth? In the end, I'm grateful it happened when it did. Not because it hurt any less, but because it gave me the chance to walk away with my dignity intact. No dramatic confrontations, no desperate attempts to save something already broken. Just a clear-eyed assessment of the situation and the strength to remove myself from it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's recognizing your own worth and refusing to accept anything less. As for dating, yes, I did start seeing someone again after about 6 months. I've been with her for a few weeks now. She's a software engineer I met through a mutual friend, and we're taking things slowly, with clear communication and healthy boundaries. As for Allison, her dad checks in occasionally. She's still in treatment and apparently doing better, but I've kept my distance. Life moves on, and sometimes that's the biggest victory of all.